is just the worst nightmare on the planet. I hate it. I've just discovered this. And it's also, ooh, don't do that. I went straight down my neck. I didn't like that. Ayup Woodlanders, how are you? It's feeling decidedly autumn today. I think it's around about the 20th of August. They reckon we've only had about 40% of the rain that we should have had. So some of the trees are going into their early autumn mode. I've noticed some of the silver birch and the willow. At the moment for me it's all about charcoal. So yesterday I was bagging up charcoal. Today I've been up to Heartwood and got some more charcoal, so we've got to get this emptied, bag up some more into the brown sacks, and then I've got a couple of deliveries to do, hopefully one today, and then maybe one tomorrow. We'll see anyway. We've managed to squeeze in 50 bags Heartwood's finest charcoal. Even more charcoals for delivery. And then a whole load of rods going out this time of year. And that's it. See you tomorrow. Good morning. Today's going to be a workshop day. In about 2 weeks in September, we've got a show coming up in Moira. It's called the Moira Woodland Festival, and it's kind of new. They did it last year as an experiment because a lot of the woodland shows and festivals that have happened in this area have all kind of faded away. COVID and finances and budgets and whatever else. We're going for a couple of days this year, so I'm just going to try and prepare some timber ready for that. So normally we do bits of green woodworking and the Hazel and things like that, but we've always had finished timber items. Karen does pyrography, so not on everything, but on some things. So the idea is to get some of this prepped so that she can do some pyrography, and then we'll have something to put on the stand when we go. I'll just show you. This is alder, which has got a really nice brown stain in it where I think some fungus was affecting the tree, so I had to come down. Got some silver birch, chestnut, more tea light holders, oak, tea light holders, bit of ash under there, a bit of what I call bone oak. I don't know what you call that, but it's just oak that's been sat on the ground for an awful long time. Got some beech, bit of ash, more ash, a bit more silver birch. Couple of pieces of oak, that might be cherry, but I can't tell at the moment. The frustrating part of storing timber, because I don't use chemical, is that, you see that? Woodworm holes, it's so frustrating. They tend to affect either the sapwood or the softwood. So silver birch, this has got a little bit of spalting in it, so they make a beeline straight for that. This alder, I noticed there's some odd bits in here, so I'm going to have to steer around the holes. There's a classic but that's in the sapwood, so that'll get cut off anyway. See the sapwood there, look, it's all soft and gooey. You don't tend to go for the hardwood. Anyway, lesson over. Let's switch some lights on. The workshop isn't exactly tidy at all. It's probably the worst I've ever seen it, and because I don't use the workshop an awful lot these days, so as you can see, it's hardly safe to work in here. I have to move very slowly otherwise I fall over. That's it for today. Got a bit carried away with the tea lights and ended up doing all that over there and then all this on here. That's a lot of holes with a lot of sand in. Good morning. September the 8th today, Monday. Schools have all gone back, so I feel like I should get back to work. Today is going to be another workshop day. I've got to put ropes in these door stops today, and then possibly
some of this, some of that, this, that.
It's going to be coasters. So I've got to put that through the machine and then plane it and then chop it and all the rest of it. This is all in preparation for the show on the weekend, which is at Moira Furnace. Concerningly, there's not been much in the way of social media promotion for it, which is a little bit worrying, because I was hoping it would be a really big show, but with with the lack of promotion, I'm not sure whether the footfall will be that good. But anyway, I'll enjoy it even if nobody else comes along. Karen's been doing some pyrography and then a little bit more on the door stops. I don't think there's any more on there. She enjoys it, and the whole process is all about something for her to do to help her with her bipolar. Okay, there we go. We'll drill some holes in the tops of these. I've got to show you this, it makes a funny noise. I've just discovered this. That's awesome. It's almost tea time. Show you where we're at. We've got all our door stops finished. These are for coasters, and so we've got things like alder and birch, and we've got a bit of cherry, and we've got a bit of sweet chestnut. I think tea is almost ready, so it's either come back in the evening in about an hour, Good morning all. We had a lot of rain last night, wow. Feels quite unusual to get rain, I'm telling you, for 9 months. This morning we are charcoaling. Got to bag up a load of charcoal for a little shop near Staunton Harold, if you know it, called Gardener's Bothy, and they stock our charcoal. Tomorrow is the Moira Woodland Festival and Sunday, so we're still busy prepping for that, but I've got to get this charcoal done, nip back home, take Karen to hospital for some sort of screening test, then back to get ready for the show. So it's a bit of a mad sprint today, bear with me. There is a reason why I'm putting it into a yellow bucket. A yellow bucket is the same quantity as our boxes, and this customer wants a box quantity in a bag. Well, the only bags I've got is the big bags. So that's the way it is. It's not ideal, it's a bit crude, and I'm getting it everywhere. And to be between me and you, I don't know whether I'm going to do this next time. I think they're going to have a regular size bag full to the brim like everybody else, and that'll be the way it is. What an absolute nightmare this is. Right, that's them done. Glad about that. We'll go and lock up, get them over to Staunton Harold. I've just popped down into an area that's earlier on in spring. I cut down the willow, which is some stumps here. I cut down a whole rook of them in the hope that I would get willow binders. However, the muntjac have had an absolute field day. Look at the state of these. I've not been down here to check. They're absolutely decimated. There's nothing left. The muntjac have been in, and this was a sweet chestnut. Look at the state of that. Now, I was told, I'm led to believe that muntjac and deer don't like sweet chestnut because of the tannins. Well, they're like that. All that rubbing mark is where they rub their antlers, and on there. So they're about in here. Sorry about it. Good morning. We're up with the birds this morning. I've got to whisper so I don't wake up the neighbours. It's show day today, and I'm up early so I can't load the van up. But first of all, I think we'll enjoy sunrise. It's day 2. I'm still whispering. Yesterday went really well. A few observations about the show, because it's still in its early days. It's not quite a woodland show yet. I think it needs a little bit of work, but I had a chat with Katrina, which is one of the organisers, and we're coming up with a bit of a plan to try and get it to be more of a woodland show and less of just a pop-up market. Good morning. It's just a bit on the windy side this morning. Yesterday was the second day of the show over at Moira. It went okay yesterday. I wouldn't say we sold as much. I think the traffic was about, as in human traffic, was about the same. But definitely sales were down yesterday, and then around about 1:30, 2 o'clock, the rains came in, and it was torrential. Oh, it was awful. We had to pack up in the pouring rain, so that wasn't very nice. This morning, all I've been doing is simply breaking down from all of that. I'm always trying to get utopia from the show, and I know I can't get it. It'd be nice if I could just get better set up. Now, the arched frame that we use it's not ideal. There's a psychological problem with that, in that because it's got a low sort of height, people have to duck underneath it and they don't like it. And then also, because I want to do shows where I actually help people to have a go, I think that's the direction I want to go with the shows. Rather than just demonstrating what I do, I think it's important to try and let others have a go now. And I'm just about reached that stage. So for next year, I'll be doing have-a-goes, which means I've got to set myself up with some shave horses and some other bits and pieces. And that's where I'm also at. Do I invest in and make a really nice canvas top on some ash poles or chestnut poles, so it looks really rustic? Position all the shave horses inside, so if it rains or if it's really hot, they're protected, and then have a bit of a stall at the side where we sell our things and do it that way. So that is something that's kind of wearing in my mind. So this is something that happened a fair few months ago. I watched a channel called Dom DIY, and he does all sorts of metal fabrication work. Him and his business partner came up with a fairly fresh and new design for a chainsaw operated sawmill. And it's fairly straightforward, simple design. They call it the clamp mill. The idea being that it clamps to the ends of the log, and you can use a regular chainsaw with a different chain for making planks out of your logs you have. I've not really seen much in the way of internet reviews of it yet, and while today won't be an extensive review, what I'm going to do is assemble it, let you know how it goes together, kind of, and then I've got to modify the bar for the chainsaw so it's got 2 holes in it. Once I've done that, I'm hoping that we can have a bit of a go of this before the end of the week. Apart from a few mistakes on my part so far, I think we've got the wrong grub screw for these. So I've got all of them right, except this one has come through a little bit too long. So it's not a huge issue, probably just a little error, either in packaging or it was in the wrong bag. We'll find out shortly. But if I put it in, it sticks up too proud, and something will catch on it. I'm another washer bolts, nuts missing, so where the ratchet bolts onto, that's an M6. I got the nut, but I got the bolt, the little Allen bolt that's in there, but we were missing the nut and we're missing the 2 washers as well. Only a slight glitch, so I've put my own little nut on it I found in my toolbox. I've managed to get it fully assembled. I wouldn't say it was ever so straightforward from my perspective on the video. I must have had to stop and start the video about 25 times. There were some bits I was a bit perplexed on exactly how to do it, because it didn't show the mill in its full length like it is now. It showed just like this bit, and it was difficult to tell whether something had been rotated or moved. But with a little bit of trial and error and a fair bit of pausing and replaying, we've managed to get the clamp mill fully assembled. So all I've got to do now is where these pins are, where the chainsaw locates, which I think it's a pin right underneath there, which is that pin there. Apparently that's 40 centimetres from that pin to that pin. I've got to just drill a hole in the bar, but I've just got to find out off another video just to make sure I'm doing the right thing. Good morning. Simply a case of getting this off this morning so that we can empty the trailer ready for a trailer full of charcoal to go up to, I keep thinking it's Bolsover, but it's not Bolsover, it's something else. Somewhere up near Derby anyway. Of course, the only challenge with buying new kit is where on earth do you put it? It's jolly heavy as well. The little chap in the videos makes it look dead easy. I was like, he's obviously a big guy, because I'm not. And there's a fair weight to it. Well, that's emptied as of the stock. Little road trip next with a trailer full of charcoal. I still can't remember where it is. Rather a nice day for a road trip. Well, we've arrived, but I'm not quite sure where I'm going yet. But what an incredible bit of the landscape again. This is called Belter, and it's beautiful around here. Another 50 bags sorted from Hartwood HQ, and we'll get back to our woodlands to unload this lot. Apologies for yesterday, it all ended rather abruptly. I had a visit up the woods, and then we got our charcoal in storage. I got these big plans today to get some sawmilling done with the new sawmill, only it's pouring with rain. I've got ideas for closing in this end, so I've got a fence panel there. There was a fence panel there, but it keeps falling over because I've not fixed it. And I'm like, what can I do to stop the rain driving in, which it is, because those bags are getting wet. And then of course ultimately that could affect the charcoal, but without blocking out all the light. Now I had this idea that I could put some tin sheets across like an old-fashioned barn, and that's still a possibility, so I need a couple of rails to fix the tin sheets to, but of course that will block out an awful lot of light, and I want to be able to use this as a working area. So some weeks back I bought another trampoline net off Facebook for a few quid. So I've got this idea that we can fix it at the top with some hooks all the way around to there, and then possibly put some more hooks in on this rail here, and be able to get that net to go all the way round like that. And that means that it will still let light in, it will provide that little bit of protection from the weather. And worst case scenario, if that doesn't work, then I can still add the tin sheets afterwards. I'll just show you this, which is a little bit off topic, but this is my new bar I've got for my chainsaw for the sawmill. I've drilled my hole in there. It's quite hard material, but I've got to be able to avoid the sprocket, and I can't fit the hole in there because that means that it pushes this too close to the chainsaw and it won't fit in the sawmill. So this is a 20-inch bar. Ooh, don't do that. I went straight down my neck. I didn't like that. Ooh. Let's not stand here for too long, eh? I'll explain this and then we'll get on to cover. It's a narrow curved bar. So my other bar on the big chainsaw is regular 3/8 0.63, is it? Something like that. Well, this is a 0.50 3/8 1.3 mil. So I think the other one's 1.6 mil. So of course it's a narrower curve, which means the actual amount of wood that it removes from the log is less. We've got some brand new chains. We will get to that another day, but I just wanted to show you that. And anyway, I'm getting wet here. I wasn't going to put the tin sheets on, but actually looking at it I think I will, and I might have them up to around about 5 foot high going straight across to the container. Looks like my swamp cypress has taken another bashing this dry summer. I'm not sure how many more summers of dryness it can take. It's had a couple now where it's dropped its needles early and not doing ever so well. I just thought we'd take a little wander down the bottom end, which I haven't done for seemingly quite a while, just to see how the coppice is getting on. The new plantings I put in, brown bread. Poor things. We knew it would, but when you see it, it sort of brings a reality of, oh no, wasted. It's not a waste of time, but it's frustrating knowing that you've got to start all over again. So this is where we coppiced earlier on in this year. This is looking rather promising. So this is 1 year growth. We've got anything up to 6 foot here. That is excellent, really. I'm very impressed with that. We did put a bit of brash around the stools just to keep them from standing on them, and it does seem to help. This is the new plantation where we did. This is what you funded from the Buy Me a Coffees. So we managed to buy a whole load of trees. I can't remember how many now. Going on for about 400, I think, in the end. But we've got hazels out the tops of the trees. That was the other hazel coppice that we did. That's up to 6 foot. Wow, that is absolutely awesome. You know, sometimes in the year you think, I'm just going to be filled with bad news of things failing. But that is excellent. I'm well impressed, especially on such a dry year. We've got a lime tree that's alive. Oh, and look at that. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, Robinias. That is fantastic. Got some oak trees in there. I can't remember. Why did I buy oak trees? Sessile oaks, Quercus petraea, is usually a far more upright, straight growing oak, but produces the same quality of resilient shipbuilding oak. Doing all right here. So that is very, very encouraging. Little trip down here. Munkjack damage, look. This is ash regrowth. I don't really care about it, but that shows that the munkjack are active down here. So they've eaten that, look, the ash, and not touched the hazel at all. If they're like this and manage to get out the top of the shelters in the first year, it's quite possible to take these tree shelters off. But you will have to decide that for yourself based on what is problematic in your area. If you've got things like fallow deer, to be honest, these miniature shelters won't be enough to stop them at all. They'll just eat them off every day. There's one of the ash trees I left. There's the other one, still looking fairly okay in the crown. That's another one I left. That looks like it's absolutely nearly dead. It has suffered from the dieback. This is the state of our fence line. We have got heavy grazing down here, so the horses are still managing to stick their great necks over. Look at the state of that. Just chomp on everything. Anything like giraffes. This fence has got to be. Oh, look at the state of the hazel. Absolutely mullered. Yeah, what a mess. Now, it was on my mind to get this fence done last winter, and I ran out of time. In fact, look at that. It even managed to eat right over here, and we're looking at, well, you can see that from there to the fence line, to the electric fence, we're looking at about 8 or 9 foot. and the horse has still managed to reach this great neck over. I do find it frustrating. Try and grow something, somebody wants to destroy it for you. So this has become a little bit of a pressing problem. We'll get in here over the next month or two, brush cut a bit of a clearing, and I'm going to have to buy some materials and rebuild my fence line. We've had quite a busy afternoon. I got so carried away I forgot to press record, but that's my normal charcoal racking, and I got a couple of extra mid rails and another stanchion thing on the end. So we've assembled that. It's a shame I haven't got two more of these, but I haven't. But it's super rock steady, even though it's only got two on it, and I'm not carrying palletfuls of engines and things like that. Then I've decided I do need some sort of sheet in here, so we've sorted out some metal sheets. That 6x2 there's got to be ripped straight down the middle to create two 2x3s, and then I'm going to fix those to there, and then another one across there, and then the sheeting will go vertically like that to leave the netting at the top. And then the other job this afternoon was I jacked this up a while ago to create a better incline, and then overnight and this morning we had some pretty steady rain, so I thought, I'm going to check to see if it's leaking, and of course it was. Nothing like it used to, but where the joins are, so like there and there, if you look inside you might just be able to see tide marks of where that was wet, and then on this joint here it doesn't look so bad now. So we got busy again and we've jacked it up again, which meant these jacking up posts that I used last time, I simply unscrewed them, jacked it up another, it's gone up another 4 inches now, because that was down there, and I don't think you can tell on camera because the ground actually slopes, believe it or not. The slabs are about 4 inches lower that end than they are at that end, but yeah, you've got to trust me, it's no longer level, and I'm hoping that is now enough fall to stop it from backflowing. If it isn't, I'm going to have to come up with another cutting plan. And that aeroplane is knocking out all my audio. And then tomorrow, Jeff, the chappie I do a lot of woodland work for, who also watches the woodlog, so hello Jeff, he's invited us to go to a place called Fuelwood, which is in Warwick. He's going tomorrow to look for something for himself, and then I'm going to have a look to see if I can get a bagging machine, which is not a machine at all, it's just this thing that tilts for net sacks, because it makes net sacks, if you've ever done it with logs, it's just the worst nightmare on the planet. I hate it. That's why I hate net sacks. I hate them because they're single-use plastic, and I hate them because they're a nightmare to load. However, they have these loading trays, and I know you can make your own and all that, but to be honest, I've got so many other things going on, I just haven't got the wherewithal and the patience to sit there and do it. So I'm hoping they've got one in stock, but I think that is about me done for today, so I'll see you in the morning. Stay tuned for the next woodlog for some sawmilling action. Until then, if you're able to, do what you can to enjoy woodlands near you and to continue to look after them. I'll see you on the next one. And if you do like machinery kind of videos, take a look at this one up here, and I'll see you on the next one.